guys know, at 7 o'clock will be the all-school presentation. So after we're done here, I know Coach Peck said you can go home and watch the Hawks game, which I guess you could. But we are going to go downstairs to the cafeteria, and they will have cookies and cake and punch and stuff down there.
It's an optional thing.
Yeah.
We have to go.
We have to go.
We don't have to go.
But we have to go, and if you'd like to come down there with us, you can. They're going to recognize all the coaches. So.
Hawks. Sorry.
Well, this is my 4th year as a bowling coach here, and this is the least amount of bowlers I ever had on a team. Normally we have about 15
total.
kids.
We had 17 last year.
Yeah.
17 kids total.
You know, and you know the big fear that Coach Vanderjack and I had is with the new freshmen coming in, with the lack of bowlers coming out to try out, we didn't know what kind of season we were going to have. We've been real fortunate the last 3 years to have talented bowlers before they even get to us. They're well coached. They have a great idea and a sense of the game, which makes our jobs a lot easier. Okay. These coaches from these other schools think I'm this great entire guru, but really it's all them. I haven't done anything really except help them out a little bit.
Hello?
Really? Oh, I thought that was your school phone. But being the 4th year as a coach, at the sophomore level, every year we've established ourselves as the top team, if not the top team, the top contending team. Last year was our first year we never took first. We took second. We only lost it by a few pins. This year, again, we captured the conference crown, which is a great, great accomplishment. Because when you think about it, we started out with 6 bowlers on this squad, and one unfortunately could not continue the season for other reasons. AJ had a vast knowledge, a good, a little bit of skill. John, growing up with his brother, had a lot of stuff. Mike was on the team last year, and he was already well trained. And Steve is Steve, that's why he's just here for a little bit, then he's going to go on to the varsity speech. And then Eric over there, who just kind of came over and had a ball in his hand, is like, hey, I'm just going to see what I can do. Eric, started out talking about him. Eric, when we got him on the team, the first thing that we liked, he had his own bowling ball. And that's always a good thing with bowlers, because everyone knows you can't throw a house ball, you can't do squat with it. And that was the first plus. And in the beginning, he was an 80s and maybe an 85 year, maybe he'd break 100 every once in a while. We're like, okay, no big deal, we got Steve. Not a big deal. He'll learn and he'll pull his weight. Well, it came to that point, the first couple matches, poor Eric couldn't get in the matches. His skill just wasn't there, his numbers weren't there, and being a coach, you have to make that decision. You can only put 5 in, we had 1 extra. When the other player could not stay anymore, Eric really stepped up for us. Being our leadoff bowler in a amount of time, he was a huge reason why these guys captured the conference crown again this year. He did a phenomenal job. I don't think he ever got upset once. I think he smiled even when he threw a gutter ball. He did a great job. So, Eric, we hope that you continue bowling spring and summer, and you can only go up from where you've been, and from where you've been going, it's skyrocketing. So, congratulations to you, Eric.
All right, Eric.
Mike Pierce, our only sophomore, or one of our sophomores on the team. I had him last year. He was not as tall. He was not as talkative last year as he was this year. And he didn't have as long hair, did you? Then he came the first day of practice. I see him with this flaming skull shirt that says Sons of Anarchy and all this other stuff on it. And he's got a wrist guard. And Mike Pierce really worked hard in the off season to come and be a real, big contribution for this squad. A big enough contribution to where he was even asked to go to some tournaments, and he did very well. Mike's average, I know, was a hell of a lot higher than it was last year.
181.1.
All right, Mike.
I think we were in the 160s last year, 165 and 167. I mean, that's a great job. I mean, it's just another reason to say, you're growing as a bowler. Of course, you're still growing, so that's always a good thing too. But Mike Pierce, towards the end, he had a couple matches where he was just stringing them along 5, 6, 7 in a row. And we were kind of hoping he would have his one chance to get a perfect game as well. So, you know, we look for great things for him in the future as well. So Mike Pierce. AJ was a guy that came in, like sprinting up to the line and just throwing that sucker down. But it hit the pocket and went in. And I kind of looked at Coach Vanderjack and I go, should I say anything to him? No. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Well, we had a little bit of struggle after the first couple matches because even though it wasn't broke, he wanted to try and fix something. Okay, and we were kind of conflicting with that. But AJ, after kind of, you know, growing as a bowler and growing as an individual, keeping his composure out there, not getting upset every time something doesn't go his way, he really stepped up maturity level-wise to really hold his own. He was an all-conference bowler as well, and so was Mike Pierce as well. Actually, what, 4 out of the 5? 4 out of the 5 guys. You know, I haven't even talked about you yet, or you, but yeah. I mean, that's great. And I know for a while Eric was even in the running for that. Okay, and to be a freshman to get all conference, that's an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations. Okay, well, I've known John since he was about this high, he had hair down to here.
He looked like her.
And he looked like
her. It looks just like her.
And, Mrs. Strachey coming to me and saying, he's going to be your next bowler. I said, you mean Miss Gearman's bowler, not mine. But John, from last year to this year, he just sprung up like a sprout. And John had, you know, we knew ahead of time what kind of bowler John was going to be. And we knew the biggest thing with John was just making sure he could stay focused on not just himself, but the team and how to improve his own game. Because we already knew he had a great bowling game, okay? But, you know, nothing's perfect, and we always got to keep improving. And he really kind of honed that in this year, and he kind of was like a sponge. And everything Coach Vanderjack and I could talk to him about, he would try. Whether it worked or not, he was always optimistic to try it out. Okay, and of course, you know, in the conference tournament with his knee and everything like that, you know, it just staying in there no matter what, you know. And I know at that point in time, you know, you grew as an individual and as a young man because you knew at that point you needed to be in there not just for yourself. It didn't matter about all conference. It mattered about these 4 guys to your left. And that was the best thing that I ever saw you do. So, you know, congratulations, and, you know, your character has grown so much. So we expect big things from you in the future. I'll be short with Steve because he's going to get a lot of praise over here too. What can I say about Steve? He's a machine. You know, Steve bowls the ball, the pins go down, no matter what. Steve is just a guy. It's like a computer in his head. He knows what's going on. He knows exactly where the ball is. He knows if it didn't hit this mark. He knows why it didn't hit this mark. He knows how to fix it. Okay, and we all know Steve on the sophomore level. He should have never been there. But because of our numbers, he had to stay and help us out, which helped us out tremendously. I mean, there were matches we were beating teams by 300-400 pins.
So Chris was the first by 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, and then they're like, why is this guy with you? He's bowling 260s, you know. I'm like, hey, we got 5 guys, you know. You want me to bowl 4? And the one match with Revis, we bowled with 4 and we almost beat him.
Almost beat him.
You know, so.
So he was 278.
But
yeah.
Steve, you know, as a sophomore, you know, and even going up there, and she'll talk about him, but Steve is one of those guys that we hope to see down at Fairview Heights, if not as a team, as an individual, in the next 2 years. So, you know, I said both. I said both. Okay, so one or the other, you know, he's got those attributes to be a great bowler. So, Steven.
Woo, Steven!
So, our fresh off team for the year.
All right.
All right. Woo! Oh, nice.
Where's the what?
Bob Peck traveling trophy.
We got it.